And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're going to take a look at a game called The Golden Sails. Now this box here is the Russian box from Hobby World, but The Golden Sails is a card game. It is a drafting game in which you are trying to take different items and score them and get sets in different ways. And essentially, it thematically was a little similar, not really, but it reminded me kind of Viceroy, which is another game from Hobby World, where you're trying to collect different sets of things to get items. And this had that same kind of feel to it. Has some very colorful artwork. Let's take a look. In the Golden Sails, players are going to be collecting different cards. And each card can be one of 5 different things. It can be a gem, which has a number on it from 1 to 8. It can be an animal type. It can be a kind of one of these spices types. It can be a purple thing here, and it can be a weapon. Now, each of these is something different, and players are trying to collect these to score. At the end of the game, they're going to be trying to collect runs of numbers. So a 6 is good if I also had a 5 or a 7. So maybe I'll collect an 8 later on. And here's a 4, still not really getting me a lot of points. 2, this is really probably, but once I get to 7, now I have a 6, 7, 8. And the more runs I have, the more points I'm going to get. Spices, I'm trying to get as many different spices as possible. Each player has a reference card that shows them the number of different spices they have at the end of the game is going to get them points. Each player also has a reference card. You're going to shuffle these. Each player gets a reference card, and then the last reference card gets turned over, and that's going to show you how much animals are worth. So for example, this one here, 2 spiders and a dragon is 10. 2 unicorns and a phoenix are 10. So different sets of animals are going to be worth points based on whatever card you pick. Weapons are going to hurt the people next to you. I'm going to steal 1 point from the person on my left and 2 points from the person on my right. Here I have a boomerang 2. Now I'm stealing 3 and 3. And so the more weapons you get, the better. But if you ever get weapons of the same type, they both cancel each other out. And then purple cards are essentially just special cards. Like this is going to give me 2 points for every purple card. This gives me 2 points for every unicorn. Some purple cards will block weapons from other characters. Some will up the power of weapons. Like this one here, for example, makes that weapon a +2/+2. So how do you get these cards? Well, at the beginning of each round, you're going to put 4 cards in the middle table, or actually a card equal to the number of players. Each player has 5 experts. These experts correspond to the different cards that are out there. So on a player's turn, starting with 1 player, the first player, each player is going to take an expert and assign it to a card. Once an expert's on a card, this card, for example, is a gem. Maybe the next person decides to make this one the purple one. And then the next person decides to make this one a spice. And then the next person decides to make that one a gem. The last player then picks one of these. They can take a gem, a spice, or an animal. So maybe they'll take the animal. Then the next person takes this. Then the next person takes that. So the first person has to take a spice. However, they have the opportunity, if they want to switch out to a different one. And I'll say, I'm actually taking the unicorn there. Now, when you take these, you'll put them in front of you in a pile with the side that they are face up. So, for example, here, you can tell these are all animals. The only one you can't do that with is gems. So you just put them face down in front of you to show that they're gems. When you play one of these experts, you do not get it back until you are down to only 1, and then you get all your experts back. Players will keep doing this until the deck of cards is gone. At that point, they will add up their scores, and whoever has the highest score is the winner of the game. I really enjoyed this little game. There's a fun little drafting aspect here. I like the fact that the animals are different each round. Now, gems and spices have the opportunity to be the best, to get this, to score the biggest points. You really can get a lot of points. But it's really hard to get a lot of these unless the other players simply are like, oh, well, just have what you want. Now, there can be some what we call hate drafting in this game. That's where I take something, not because it helps me out so much, but because it hurts you a little. Now, the good news is, even if I take something that doesn't help me out as much, it can help me out in the future. And if there's one thing I learned from these games, definitely don't let someone get all the gems. But you can't just keep taking gem after gem after gem, because when you put out your gem expert, you no longer have that gem expert in your hand until you're down to 1. Someone else will have that card, will have to play gems out for you. And if they are, why aren't they taking them? So, or maybe they're just playing it because they're forced to, because they're down to. But you never have to play all the things from your hand. The purple things, you're going to find yourself looking those up all the time. Like, oh, what does that purple do? Like, hang on. Because there's a lot of different purple ones you can see here in the rule book. Here's all the different special purple abilities, and there's some more up there. But really, that's not too difficult. The only other thing is also in the rule book, you'll notice that there's a special animal scoring thing, and this is basically the order that animals are played. It's a little wonky. I got to the point where I was like, when that one shows up, we'll just play with one of the other 4 animal scoring cards. Still, though, it's pretty neat. I like how when you're drafting, you're putting out 4 cards. You're like, ooh, I want that card if it's green. And I want that card if it's red. And there's a card you want, and then someone else changes it. And you're like, an animal? Going first is great. You get first choice of what you want. But at the same time, going first is not great because you get the first choice of what might be out there, but you're the last one to pick. Going last means I don't get the choice to decide what's going to be out there, but I'm first to grab it. But even the first person, when it comes back to you, you have a chance to change the expert on the card. So not a lot of complication in this game. Not a very long game. Plays pretty quickly. It's intriguing. Takes the whole drafting game and has cards be multiple things. That's something I haven't seen before. I like it. The Golden Sails. Dice Tower Judgment, approved!
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
I don't know. Shut the door.